block content. What's happening, my block buddies? Welcome to a new episode. It's another day, it's another blocked content. My name is Callum, and this is your content for today. So, it looks like we're talking a bit more about Super Mario Odyssey, and in particular, these really cool new enemies. I call them the Koopa QUARTET. I mean, that's a really cool name for those guys, and I really wonder what these guys' role will be in the entire game, in the Mario lore as a whole. It's an awesome new mission. It's a mini-game in Super Mario Odyssey, so I thought we'd zoom in on these guys a little bit more, because there was just new information revealed from the Super Mario Odyssey journal on the Japanese website. So remember that you can be the comment question winner. Your comment will appear in our next video, so if you have a funny or relevant answer to this video's question, just subscribe to my channel, click the bell, and leave a comment on this video. You can also support block content on Patreon, of course, at the end of this video. So just click the button and you'll become part of the show. So today's comment question is, are you guys ready? What other minigame would you like to see in Super Mario Odyssey? Now, we know from the Nintendo Direct that there are lots of minigames inside of Super Mario Odyssey, and I presume that every single kingdom has at least one of them, and it probably just has one of them, but at least one of them. So we of course know of the jump rope minigame, and we know of the Seaside Kingdom minigame where you could actually play volleyball, which is really cool to see. But I was thinking, this as the minigame of the Lake Kingdom, what could this possibly be? So what other minigames would you like to see in Super Mario Odyssey? Think of something like Mario Party, right? Think of what kind of cool minigames there are there. We see the RC car in the Metro Kingdom. That's sort of like a minigame. They have the jump rope as well, and that is taken almost straight out of Mario Party, which is really cool. So maybe some other minigames that you would love to see in there. Let me know in the comments and we'll get to it. Well, alright, let's just dive right into this. The Japanese Super Mario Odyssey journal actually showed a new screenshot, which looks really cool, with Mario and his hat almost flying off from running. I love that new animation, it looks really good, with, of course, the new Koopa QUARTET. And that actually looks quite fun, that screenshot. We've not seen all that much from this kingdom. I love the art style. It's almost reminiscent of something like Donkey Kong Country, but it's the Lake Kingdom, presumably. So it's a lot darker, it's a lot moodier. I think moody is definitely the term that we want to use here. And we can, of course, see the Koopa QUARTET over here. Now, the Japanese website, there is no English website that translates this, so we have to use Google Translate and a bit of our own smarts to kind of figure this out. This is actually saying, this is Noko Noko race, and now we know Noko Noko, of course, stands for Koopa Troopa, which you can play in the middle of adventure. So they are actually saying, they're saying two things. Probably they're saying which you can play like in the middle of your play session in a kingdom, but it's probably not saying that this level takes place in the middle of the game. Probably not. Probably just a translation. Let's aim for the best by making use of various actions. So let's aim for the best is probably let's aim for number one. Let's aim to be number one in this race that we're seeing over here. And by making use of various actions, by making use of all of Mario's moves. Now we know that all these guys are very similar to Mario in the way that they move, which I thought was really fun to see. It's a lot like that we've seen in other Mario games too, but to see it return here after it being absent in Super Mario 3D World is very much a treat. So, various actions, I think that's where Mario comes in. We've seen these guys use the long jump, and that's really cool because that's, you know, the speedrunning maneuver. So, having these guys already have a long jump to get ahead is really cool, and we've seen them of course jump even in this screenshot. But we've not seen them use any of the other moves, maybe not the dive forward and stuff like that, or the roll that Mario has. Maybe they can also use the roll and they turn into a Koopa shell. So that would be really interesting to see. Yeah, I think that Japanese Super Mario Odyssey journal is showing a lot of cool stuff, so definitely head on over there if you want more information on Super Mario Odyssey, and maybe just right click and like translate the page to English. So really cool. The Nintendo Direct that featured Super Mario Odyssey at the end, of course, showed this footage of these guys jumping around, and it was basically Mario and 4 other Koopa Troopas, which were almost like, oh, this is like Is this multiplayer? Can other people play as Koopa Troopas? But of course not. This is a single player experience that has some sort of co-op mode as well, but no playable other characters. Well, the Direct showed this and everyone went insane because of it, because it looks really cool and it's not just one racer that you're racing against, it's this troop of other guys. So I was wondering, are these guys equally, do they have an equal chance to beat Mario, kind of like the computer players in a Mario Kart game, or do these guys kind of have a set, like maybe the red Koopa Troopa is always ahead, is always winning in these games? But it looks from the screenshot that the blue one's actually winning, so that's really fun. They move just like Mario, but of course they don't have Cappy. They do have caps on, which is probably why, but they don't have Cappy. They don't have Mario's moves that Cappy has. So they can't throw anything or leap off of it or create platforms. They can probably wall jump if they need to, but maybe this forest, this Lake Kingdom or this Poison Kingdom is designed to have these straight areas to, be perfectly used for running and stuff like that. So that might be why what we've seen so far is a little bit simplistic, because it's being used as a racing ground for these characters. And having this more open world kind of design, I think fits really well for something like a race. So that's a very smart move on Nintendo's part. I think Mario does have an advantage because he has Cappy. I mean, you can do all these crazy jumps, you can all do these awesome maneuvers, and maybe you can even get rid of these guys. Maybe you can even attack them with Cappy to kind of give yourself an advantage, kind of like items in Mario Kart, which would be really cool. But is it fair though? Do you really win if you use your abilities and not just your smarts and your running? I don't know. It makes me think of Il Pentissimo, which was of course a character from Super Mario Sunshine. That was like the postman from The Legend of Zelda dressed up as a Pianta from Super Mario Sunshine, and you raced this guy throughout a lot of these levels, which was fun to see and a little bit mysterious as well, which was really cool. I mean, there was even an after credits thing where this guy picked up Bowser Jr.'s staff, like his brush, which was really weird, and they never really picked up on that. But it was a lot of fun to race that guy. And again, with this, it almost seems like Mario had an advantage there as well, having Flood. And of course, Il Pentissimo was a much faster runner, but having Flood and having that ability to glide along the ground, along the water, yeah, that instantly gave you a head start. So having Cappy there too maybe is an advantage. So I don't really know if it's going to be hard, something like this, or maybe it's going to be really easy and it's just about the online scores. Now, of course, we know about Koopa the Quick as well, who was, of course, a Koopa featured in Super Mario 64, and then after in Super Mario 64 DS with a tiny change in design just because the Koopas look different in that game as well. They stand straight up and they don't hunch forward. And I thought, which would be really cool, that Koopa the Quick was this big sort of Koopa, right? And he was obsessed with running. He even bought these Koopa Max shoes, or these Super Koopa shoes, which was really fun in the dialogue. And maybe this guy is obsessed with running, and maybe these guys are his kids. Maybe these Koopas are his children. So that's really fun to theorize about, right? I thought that, this is the Koopa Quartet. They also like running, and they beat up Mario, with that running. So maybe they have a relation to Koopa the Quick. So let me know in the comments if you think there's any truth to that. I also thought that the parallel between the Koopa brothers from the Paper Mario franchise was also very apparent. I mean, it's really fun to see these Koopas in different colors with different colored shoes and stuff, but they already kind of did that trick. The Koopa brothers were, of course, also Koopas dressed in different colors, so maybe there is a relation there as well. It's fun to think about stuff like that. They are simply wearing caps, backward caps, which looks radical, like really cool, so they can be captured, of course, which would have been fun, but if they have the same abilities as Mario, why would you want to capture a character like that? It's like capturing Luigi. It's like, oh wait, you might have like a slightly higher jump or whatever, but it doesn't really make that much of a difference. Now, what I do think is really cool about this encounter is that it's a minigame. And these minigames all over the game, they appear to have these online leaderboards, which is really cool. This only appears in the Lake Kingdom, as far as we know, and we call it the Lake Kingdom, but it probably should be something like the Poison Kingdom, right? But it looks really cool. We've not seen all that much of this kingdom, but we have seen that these Koopa Troopas are probably related to this kingdom, maybe related to some sort of boss character over here, and maybe have a connection to Glydon as well, which is, of course, the dinosaur character that we've mentioned mentioned in a previous video as well, who can glide along this area, which was really cool to see. So we know a little bit more about this kingdom, but maybe they could have a boss character in the Lake Kingdom that would be Koopa the Quick. So maybe everything is themed around running, maybe everything is themed around this mobility that we also see from Glydon. Now, riding on a Koopa shell, like surfing around, I think we can dismiss that one. It was one of my favorite things in Super Mario 64. I don't think it's getting a return because I don't think that you can simply stomp on these guys and steal their shell because they are, you know, sort of Mario characters. It's about the running, it's not about a battle. So a minigame, I think it's a lot of fun. It has online scores, which is really fun for a lot of speedrunners, and it would be fun to see speedrunners do this challenge because they probably outrun all the Koopas in like 4 seconds and just continue speedrunning that whole segment. So that's really cool. So what do you guys think of the Koopa Quartet? Do you think it's a good name? Do you guys like this minigame? Do you guys like that, you know, Nintendo is keeping with the tradition of having races in these Mario games? I love it. I mean, I'd love to hear what you guys think of this. If you comment down below, you could be featured in our next video. I'll just take your comment over there. So today's comment question is, what other minigame would you like to see in Mario Odyssey? So dig deep in your Mario Party history and maybe you will be featured. And as for the previous comment question, our answer comes to us from user Marcelo Guimares saying, I think that Yoshi has a great chance of being in Odyssey. There's even a part of the land in the map near the Metro Kingdom, or at least part of it, which is shaped like a head of Yoshi. He's very charismatic and good to ride, so would be very nice to have him in what may become the greatest Mario game. My question? Do you think that the kingdoms will have other locations, like a part of the Metro Kingdom other than New Donk City, or an area of the Sand Kingdom other than Tostarena? Congrats for the channel. So thank you so much, Marcelo. Just to answer your question, do I think that kingdoms have other locations? Yes, we've seen some of them before. They are mostly confined to smaller areas that you can visit, like indoors or stuff like that, but I don't think other cities or something like that. I think every main kingdom has one city, and that's kind of what they're focusing on. As far as the Sand Kingdom goes, I think we have Tostarena Town, of course, which is really cool, but don't forget we also have that awesome upside down pyramid as well. So there's a lot of potential in that kind of an area. So thank you so much for sending in your comments, everyone. These are always a ton of fun to do, and I want to feature all of you guys. You know, I don't have the time in one video, but you know, let's hope that we can all appear in these videos. That would be really cool. So another cool thing is you can decide what I make a video about next, because block content is on Patreon. So click on the link at the end of this video. Maybe you can be a part of the show. So remember that if you are not a member yet of the block content family, you actually can be. So click that subscribe button, hit the bell, and all that news and fun about Super Mario, Odyssey, and all the other franchises you care about will be delivered daily to you. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you around the corner, where there's always more blocked content. See you later.